And we know that TechCrunch is a leading technology media and we're well known in the world and focus on the startup and the tech news and the tech breaking news and TechCrunch. So could you please introduce TechCrunch to our Taiwanese audience?
So TechCrunch is a media business that's about 10 years old. And the fundamental idea, the inspiration for our founder, a man named Michael Arrington, is that startups had become a really interesting topic for the news. They were a different type of news story that combined business news and technology news and investment news. And so he got a small group of editors and writers together to just focus on that. And it became enormously popular on a global basis. So today TechCrunch around the world has 20 million readers, which is pretty remarkable, I think, when you consider how specialized the startup world is. We also have a very big event business in addition to the online journalism site that we operate. That also is quite strong. Last year we did events in 7 different countries, 21 different events.
So we are really curious about that. What's your goal for coming to Taiwan this time?
Well, my goal is to work with my colleagues here at Oath because there's such a strong business operation in Taiwan for Oath, the former Yahoo team. And there's a lot to learn here. TechCrunch is a very small team. We know very little about Asia, China, Taiwan, the whole region. So I'm sure that we're going to learn a lot and find some interesting new business ventures together.
So we see that TechCrunch hold a lot of events like a Battlefield and Disrupt in Asia, in China, in America. So will you hold this kind of event in Taiwan too in the following years?
Well, you never know. We don't have any immediate plans because it's very far, of course, from home. But that's exactly the type of project we're talking about with the team locally here. What kinds of new media businesses can we create here, and what other events could we bring to this side of the Pacific?
So how do you see the startup in Taiwan? Will TechCrunch pay more attention on startups in Taiwan or support Taiwanese startups?
Don't we pay any attention to startups in Taiwan? I think we do. We actually have a correspondent who lives here, Catherine Xu, lives in Taipei. I think we have a very, very thin editorial presence in Asia. We only have 2 people living in Asia, which is a very small number when you consider how huge the startup scene is in China and in Taiwan and Japan and Southeast Asia. So we hope to improve on that. We hope to have more people one day. But Taiwan's startup scene is relatively early compared to some startup ecosystems as we describe them around the world. But there is tremendous technology depth in Taiwan. So that's the great basis, I think, for a startup community in a country like Taiwan, is the opportunity to take all of those engineers and all of those really excellent business people and redirect some of that energy into startups.
So according to your observation, what are our advantages and disadvantages?
Well, the advantage is tremendous technology depth. So there's no shortage of great engineers and great technical know-how in Taiwan. The disadvantage is that the startup culture is in its maybe first generation right now. So there have been some very good companies to come out of Taiwan. But before a startup ecosystem really becomes strong, you need a large number of what we call serial founders, very experienced founders who've taken a company to success and exited, sold it, had an IPO or something like that. And in many markets, not just Taiwan, the vast majority of cities that have early startup cultures, there are only a few people who fit that description, maybe a couple dozen. But in places like Silicon Valley, which are maybe in its 25th or 30th generation, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. So they provide mentorship and early stage investment to other up and coming founders. And that's the essential basis for the growth of a strong startup ecosystem. So it's really just about time for a market like Taipei to evolve as a startup community.
So if Taiwanese startup want to go global, what's your suggestion?
They should come to San Francisco. They should come to our Disrupt event. In fact, many startups from Taiwan come to Disrupt San Francisco in September. That's our biggest event, our flagship event. We always have probably 20 or so companies from Taiwan exhibiting, thanks to TSS, the government agency that helps make that happen. The problem in relatively small countries is that the market is small. And so founders, entrepreneurs need to figure out how to get a big story, how to get to China, how to get to the United States, how to get to Southeast Asia, so that they can convince investors that they have a global market opportunity.